There is something that was brought to my attention by a Patreon member, and I like to look at new, different things, different perspectives. And really, what we're waiting for is when there is enough perceived opportunity by capital in the space, and that's what we've been waiting for. That will tell us when we're going to see our next rip for altcoins in the market. And what's interesting about this is it looks like we are starting to tip into this zone that has historically led us on some nice surges. And I want to talk about this in relation to ADA, but I do want to look at also this time frame that I think a lot of people missed. I think this is very important for us to look at as well. So if you guys are new or haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Hit that bell. It's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So right now it's about 8 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. We have seen U.S. money wake up. We're just kind of chopping. That's, again, a good sign for a low volume day. I do want to see us kind of build in the back half of the day, and we'll see if that's the case. But ADA right now is sitting at about 66 cents. And I do have to say, I care less about price on the short term, and I care much more about where we're headed long term. And I still believe that we obviously have a lot of excitement ahead of us. We have not seen adoption take place yet in this market. And one of the biggest things we've seen so far is just hesitance. We've seen a lot of hesitance from basically this capital that's parked on the sidelines. We have not seen this major drop yet. And we're waiting for, when do we get that kind of push over the hump? When does this historically happen? When is there enough perceived opportunity by this capital that's on the sidelines to really start major altcoin accumulation? Now, this thing that was brought to my attention by a Patreon member of mine was actually in regards to a Ben Cohen video. Now, I don't really watch his videos, but what he was talking about, I'm sure, is basically the total 3 minus USDT versus BTC chart. And what he was likely talking about was this returning home, because this obviously went home back in 2017. We saw this again here in basically 2020 before we had our big altcoin rip, and we have not come back home in this chart. Now, do we have to come home? No. I will say that first of all. And what we are currently is that altcoins are sitting at about 26%, 25% away from returning home, meaning that if BTC ran 25% and altcoins held the same market cap, then yes, we would in fact close that gap. And there we are. But what I wanted to look at was something even a little deeper. I'm hoping he didn't discuss this, because this would be a really cool find by me if that's the case. But what I looked at was actually the RSI here. And what we are looking for is when there is extreme value in altcoins. And what we have seen historically speaking is, there have been several times where altcoins have reached this oversold range. And yes, this has caused a nice pop, but more specifically, we have tended to see altcoin rallies when this RSI actually hits a 35 or lower. All right. Now I got to hide my box again. Don't have to do this often, but where we can see we're currently at is actually a 36. So we are almost in this range when there is extreme value in terms of altcoins in the space. Now, the last time we were down below a 35 was, go figure, in October of 2024, late October of 2024. And then we obviously know what happened following that. We had a major rip for altcoins, and it came obviously off the election, a lot of excitement there. But there were several times where we got some of these pops. June, when we were bottoming, right? July, same thing. We saw a nice dip for altcoins, another opportunity to accumulate. But then obviously there have been some great opportunities to accumulate even before that, June of 2023. Saw this again here, another dip in October of 2023, right as the kickoff of the bull market cycle was happening. So this actually shows us when there is that huge opportunity perception in the market. And again, right now, it looks like we're about at that zone. And what that would likely indicate is, again, we're going to see a huge insurgence. I don't know if that's the right word. That's probably not the right word. A huge influx. There you go. Huge influx of capital into altcoins. All right. Now, I'm not saying it has to happen right away. There have been plenty of times where we've gotten down to those range. We've continued down, but it shows us when there might be, especially in bull markets, when there might be huge inflows of capital. Now, this is on the weekly chart. It was very easy to identify on here. But what I want to show you guys here as well is something in the BTC dominance chart. Now, this actually comes off of a post by Crypto Rover, and it was wrong. What it said was the Bitcoin dominance is about to crash. Altcoins will explode. Now, I will agree with that, right? But what it was actually showing was a 320-day extension from the Bitcoin halving to when we see these this Bitcoin dominance drop off. And that hasn't been the case. In fact, when we look at this chart, It has actually been an increasing timeline as the cycles have gone on. And really what we're looking for is the BTC dominance cliff face when we see the significant drop off actually take place. So when we look back from 2016 into 2017, it was actually only a 245-day cliff face, meaning that is when we started to see altcoins go on just these rip roaring runs. Last market cycle, 320 days. So it was actually about 80 days longer than the cycle prior. Where are we sitting at right now? We're actually at about 406 days. So we're right now about 80 days longer than where we were last market cycle. So we're actually following, historically speaking, relevant data, right? And this isn't me trying to twist this and, make it fit my narrative. It's just something I stumbled across this morning and just kind of doing some research here. So now we've seen the ETH BTC chart bottom. We have seen us reach this BTC dominance cliff face zone, we'll call it. We're now reaching the extreme opportunity zone in terms of altcoins versus BTC. And what this would usually indicate is that we could see major influxes of capital into altcoins. All right. That's just my assessment on this. And again, we've reached bottoms on a lot of this daily stochastic RSIs. We're very heavily oversold right now across the crypto market. Could this be the moment where we again start to lead into our traditional alt season, where altcoins make huge ground, where ADA tends to do incredibly well? Maybe, right? Again, I'm not ready to call anything today. It's the weekend. It's quiet. We just came off of a brutal last few days. I think we can all agree with that. But you can get to a point where things are so oversold, where you have not really seen people start to flow in quite yet. And you can get to a point where people just feel like they're going to be stuck on the sidelines. And if we do in fact confirm this higher low here for ADA, for some other alts in the space, that could be again where we just see this rip roaring run that runs us into this next extension and this next leg. I'm not trying to pump hopium into anybody, but it's just the data's all just aligning way too conveniently, way too right on the nose. I mean, it's not a surprising thing, right? So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think this is where we're going to see a huge influx of capital? I keep saying influx of capital. Is this where you're going to see people start buying altcoins very heavily? Is this where there is enough perceived opportunity for us to start seeing those next legs in the space? But I appreciate you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below, but have a great day. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.